We have a new moon in Libra coming up. This is an energy update. I will not be using astrology to give you this information. I will be reading the Akashic record to relay the messages to you that are coming to me. No matter when you find this video, you will hear something helpful, because the divine is not bound by space and time. Before I get into that, let me just say really briefly, I won't have as many uploads as I have in the past. So most of the content can be found on Patreon moving forward into the future, because I don't want to limit my channeled messages, especially trying to ensure that I'm not stepping on anyone's toes. So it cheats you all, and I don't want to do that. Okay. So with that being said, let's get into the new moon channel message. Lately, I have been feeling the strong urge to be with my sensitivity, my emotional intensity. Being that I am hypersensitive, which is created through traumatic conditioning beginning in childhood, and I'm empathic, which is the capacity to feel other people's feelings, whether they are aware of them or not, based on my human design, which is how the Akashic record is created. So with those two things alone, I feel things very deeply. And throughout these last few activations, as we are completing 2023, the Gregorian year, I'm noticing that I'm getting more sensitive, even more intense of emotions are moving through me. That's a sign of healing. That's a sign of shadow integration. That's a sign that the Ascension process is absolutely unplugging you from the false womb matrix systems, programs, values, and beliefs that have been coded into our subconscious mind to keep us oppressed and codependent on these larger power structures that are coming down based on the information that was given to everyone on Patreon within the 9-year prophetic visionary Mayan calendar. So, as the karma from the planets of Maldek, of Mars, Tiamat, the asteroid belt, all of these planetary bodies, they're sentient. I would even say that they're more sentient than a lot of people on the planet are. And in the level of consciousness. And they're old. They've been around for a long time. And they're really not going through a cycle of reincarnation, so they retain the wisdom very well, which is why when we descend through the galactic center, come into Earth and to our mother, we're imprinted by the position of the planets. This is why on a spiritual hierarchical level, they're able to do this. With this being said, I do know that this new moon is in Libra. And so with these activations, the sensitivity has a purpose, and the purpose is to help you to figure out where you need more balance, to help you to see what makes your heart feel heavy, who or where, and how can you lighten your heart. Remember, from past teachings, the way the soul is weighed on the scales, Libra energy, of Ma'at, Libra energy, with Anubis as the guardian, and the use of feather and your heart. That symbolic reference represents a heart that is free, liberated, light, and able to be more led through feelings, heartfelt feelings. The ego creates feelings, and the heart also creates feelings. So if the heart is heavy, because some of the feelings that the ego creates, such as defensiveness, reasons to be in defensiveness, reasons to be passive aggressive, reasons to be overly suspicious and not trusting people, ruminating on certain aspects of an interaction or conversation, having anger but not acknowledging it or finding a way to release it after it has been acknowledged. All of these things create a heavy heart. And when the heart is heavy, you are going to be more sensitive to judgment from others, because the judgment is coming from inside of you because of the heaviness that you feel. And just imagine we're cups, and all of our interactions deposit something into our cup. So if you had 3 interactions throughout the week that left you feeling heavy, but you did not do anything to address it, now you have a week's worth of heavy-heartedness in your cup, and whatever emotions are associated with that heaviness from those experiences. So if someone else comes along and they're actually giving you some constructive feedback through the filter of what's already in the cup, okay, because if the cup got a whole lot of mud water in it and I come and drop a little piece of chocolate in there, the chocolate is not really even going to be noticed. And it's definitely not going to be utilized because it's a lot of mud in the cup. So let's say this next interaction is someone who has the intention to give you some constructive feedback, but you perceive it to be a criticism with the intention to hurt you in some way. Well, you will miss out on the opportunity to experience lightheartedness and be able to receive that information as a seed, allowing it to be planted into your heart so that it actually grows into something in your physical reality. And this is how we miss our life path, or delay the process of stepping onto our life path, because the information is flowing into us. But if our cup is dirty, if the filter is dirty, then it's going to be difficult for us to receive what's being brought to us as it really is. What I'm expressing to you now was represented in the Matrix movie as the oracle teaching the children to bend the spoons. We are being taught to learn how to bend our perception, right? To bend things that seemed rigid and unmovable, to create flexibility in those areas. And by doing that, we are learning to change our reality, which oftentimes seems unmovable until it actually happens. With this new moon energy, if you have a tendency to exist in black and white, to perceive things through black and white, good and bad, righteous and wicked, these things are duality at play. And all duality does not serve our highest purpose. Sometimes it does the opposite. It does a disservice to us. So the practice to maintain balance is to be able to be flexible in your perception and to practice not seeing things as black and white, being open to see the infinite shades of gray in between. A great example of this would be the either or thinking. Sometimes we feel like either I can have the career that I love and I'm passionate about, or I can have the harmonious, effortless relationship that my heart desires, but I can't have both. That either or scenario, that black and white scenario, encompasses the energy that we were programmed into on the old earth in the 3D timeline. This is what's going away. We no longer have to live in a world where things are either or. We're learning to become creators of our reality that exists in neutrality, so that the possibilities of what can happen become more unlimited as the multidimensional beings we are being trained to be. So by releasing attachment to seeing things as black or white, you liberate yourself to have more balance, because you're learning how to exist in neutrality. You're learning how to exist in the space of less judgment, more observation, and more time, energy, and effort spent on what the resolution is, and this is what I will invest my time in. That's not an old earth 3D matrix either or mindset. That's a new earth mindset. And something that I realize is when I establish neutrality, I see angles of what's happening that I didn't see before. Because my perception opens and expands to see new angles of light, of information. Well, now there are paths being lit up for me that I can take that I didn't see before. And these could be really subtle, small things. So now the limitations that were imposed by the 3D matrix and the beliefs that we attain through that, usually founded in fear and trauma, now the limitations that are self-imposed for my subconscious mind, because my ego is trying to protect me based on the subconscious programming. So I limit myself in certain areas to try to feel safe. Our brain is a quantum computer. It's so genius. It will compartmentalize certain things, and you will not be aware that you're actually doing something on a subconscious, unaware level to create safety, but it's actually a prison that you're putting yourself in. And in order for us to illuminate the invisible prison cell bars that keep us locked into this thing we call holographic reality, we must have new angles of light to see the prison bars that are in place so that we can become more limitless in our potential. A great example of this energy and embodiment of a person would be Andre 3000. He literally was locked in a persona created through his conditioning and the culture, other people's expectations of him, and what a celebrity is supposed to do to be successful. And from me tapping into his Akashic record, I feel that this is something he had been struggling with for a long time. These were different aspects of himself that he didn't know how to integrate. So he did the soul work. He went on his soul's journey, and he discovered that there was something different that lit his heart up, that made his heart feel lighter. And it was his connection to music through a wind instrument. As we are in this mental energy of Libra, the mental energy of Aquarius. So he shifted into what lightened his heart, instead of trying to be in alignment with other people's expectation, the pressure of society, the pressure of people. I mean, so many of these things. And he also is empathic and hypersensitive. So by doing that, he was able to liberate himself from some of the pressure that he felt. However, he had to acknowledge that coming out with an album that's not a rap album may not yield the outcome that he's used to or hopes for. So when you're looking at your life and learning to be more flexible and have a more open mind, open heart in the way that you're perceiving life, also know that every action is going to create a reaction. And so you ask yourself, am I okay with that? Is that useful, or is it not useful for me? And what can I do to make adjustments so that I can follow my heart's desire without having an attachment to the outcome? And letting go of attachments is the reason that I work with the dark feminine goddess archetypes, to release my attachments to certain people, places, and things being what it has always been to me, and certain expectations that I have for those things. Life brings many challenges, but the challenges isn't what makes us feel miserable. The challenges are not the creators of suffering. The creation of suffering happens as a result of our attachment to how things should be. And if we're unwilling to be flexible, we're unwilling to surrender and be more allowing, free-flowing, open, neutral, trusting, then what happens is we won't put out whatever the flute album is for you. You won't take any steps to get there because you're attached to the ifs and the shoulda, woulda, couldas, and now fear takes over and you just don't even try. Once you accept the fact that this particular decision or thing I want to do, or something that I want to express or say, a plan that I want to make, once you accept the outcome or whatever it can be, and you actually sit down and take your time and observe and look at it from different angles, once you accept that, then you become less attached to what other people are going to say, think, or do, which is freedom. But nothing really changed except your perception. The external parts within your life didn't change. You did. And because you changed, now the pressure from the external world is not impeding upon you implementing something that lights your heart up, something that's going to help you. So practice being on the new earth today, one moment at a time. Respond and whatever is happening in your environment, in your life, from a space of neutrality. Use it's really more than that, but use the R team that I've talked about when you need to regulate yourself if you get triggered and you're not able to do this on demand, because that's to be expected. This is a practice and it takes time. As we're going through this ascension process, there are certain tools and modalities that are necessary, not optional, for you to evolve. So with this R team, I'm going to give you all a few. This is something that I'm putting together as a guide for people who resonate with me and a lot of the teachings that I have. But you want to take a step back so that you can regulate. So if you get triggered and you feel yourself responding in a way that doesn't represent the new version of you that you would like to be, then you're going to regulate by refraining from continuing in the reaction, taking some time to relax. You can meditate, breath work. You can listen to some of the meditations that we have here on Patreon. The sound bowl healing, you could chill out and listen to that. Even better, the mother tongue activation. This one literally blasts open anything that's clogging up the heart. So you can try something to help you to relax. Use whatever works for you. Try something new. It's a new moon. Try a new move. And then you can go back to the conversation. You can return, which is the next R, to the conversation. And I can pretty much guarantee you that the outcome is going to shift with these steps. So the new moon in Libra, this was the channeled message coming through for me. And I want to just inspire you to continue on the journey. I know it gets tough, but trust me when I say I have went through so many cycles of the phoenix rising from the ashes throughout my ascension journey, and it is worth it. And maybe it will take 43 meditations before you reach a certain goal of self-mastery. Maybe it will take 12 weeks of yoga before your body is responding in a way that's significant enough where you can now do things that you used to enjoy you can't do anymore. Maybe it's going to take 6 months for your relationship to become more harmonious and have more healthy dynamics by you using the information that I share day to day. Maybe it will only take 6 days of you going to the altar about something you're going through to get a breakthrough. Whatever it may be, in this time to restore balance, you must remember, on that scale, if you have 15 years of suffering, misery, being triggered out of your mind, incapable of controlling your anger in a healthy way, and whatever other toxic dynamics were programmed into us by the 3D matrix, if that's on one side of that scale and you meditate 3 times and because you don't feel anything happening, you stop, then your heart is going to continue to be heavy. And it's not because the modalities don't work. It's because you gave up too soon. And some of us have given up too soon on something. And it's time to go back to it and say, you know what? I'm not going to give up on this. The way that you know you really, really are ready to receive something into your life is that you're able to be devoted to whatever it's going to take to reach that goal. So sometimes procrastination is because we're really not ready, or we haven't nourished and filled our cup of enough yet to balance out that scale. This is why human design Akashic record readings is so transformational, because we'll go into a lot of the specifics and see where is the imbalance happening and what can be done to shift that balance. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. This is some of the deepest shadow work I have ever done, and that's another reason why I'm so sensitive and I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve right now. I've become more vulnerable than ever, and I'm more authentic than I have been in the past. I'm more comfortable with whatever comes with me being authentic. And it is this energy and this work I've done on myself that inspire you. But if you do not go into the shadows, you cannot create light, because the darkness creates light, not the other way around. So I invite you to book a human design Akashic record reading, where the focus will be on the genetic traumas and how to take those shadows and turn them into superpowers. And I would also like to invite you to Patreon. I'm going to put the links below, because I got so many things coming through that I can hardly wait. I'm sitting on my hands to share some of these things. If what I shared with you was motivational, brought clarity, resonated, made some of the more complex things in your life make sense, and you feel more encouraged and inspired to be able to navigate it, like, let me know. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Please share this video. I need you all to help me reach more people, because I 100% believe that the information that I share here is not only effective for me and for the clients that I've had in the past. This information belongs in a book, so people can go to it and grab it whenever they need to. I'm observing this as I'm channeling this information to you. And I don't know what I'm going to say until I say it. That's why I call it channeling. But what I just said to you today, I truly believe that this can settle a lot of conflict in our lives. I really do. And if you are loving yourself enough to actually put this in motion and not give up until you see the outcome, I want to hear about it. Drop your comment below. And then head on over to Patreon and become an NVIP, a New Verse Illuminated Patron, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. And now that I see my accuracy is stepping on some toes somewhere, I'm going to go harder, as a sacred rebel must do. So much gangster gratitude for each of you. The purpose of the Ascension is for you to get gangster about your spiritual well-being. And you don't let nothing back you into a corner. And if you fall, you always get up again. This is why I say gangster gratitude, because we're going against the grain. We're refusing to be crushed. We're refusing to be broken. We're refusing to be generational curse sustainers. And we're learning how to change our reality by going within instead of trying to change each other, change everything happening in our world, because that type of change will leave you disappointed every single time, because you are codependent on your external world to look a certain way for you to have gratitude, love, peace, joy, trust, and allowing inside of you. And that's the old earth way. On the new earth, we have a total different constitution. And it is that of true liberty and freedom. Namaste. Namaste.